Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Andrew Pays with the first video series of 2022 and the first of a brand new series. And actually, all of the series that we're going to be starting in 22 are going to be brand new here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed, click that notification bell, because this is not the only series that I'm going to be doing here on the channel. I'm excited to do a whole bunch of new content coming this year, but I'm really excited to get back into this one. If you guys know me, I first started both my streaming channel on Twitch and my YouTube channel over here with MLB The Show. And while baseball is my favorite sport, always will be my favorite sport, so I absolutely love playing baseball as a video game. And while there's been a lot of talk on the Twitterverse lately about how franchise mode specifically seems to have not been getting a lot of love, and that's the mode I love to play the most. With the blatant one for me is the not so good roster AI and trade logic that is in the game. It has honestly killed my love of franchise for MLB The Show this year. I got through my own personal offline franchise and just was just devastated by the moves that multiple teams were making, not just in trades, but with free agent signings and all this kind of stuff. It just kind of ruined my immersion within franchise mode. Just didn't seem realistic anymore. And so I kind of stopped playing MLB The Show for a while. But then I remembered that there's a lot of good things about MLB The Show. And for me, the biggest positive for MLB The Show is its gameplay. And so I really wanted to get back into the gameplay in some form or fashion. And I thought, what's the best way to do that than to go back to where my roots were, where I started my Twitch stream back in October of 2020. The first series I ever did on Twitch, and that was my fantasy franchise challenge. And what better way to get back into MLB The Show than to going back and doing another one of those? So right here, this is the fantasy draft one-shot challenge. And essentially what I'm going to do is, because the roster AI was my biggest sticking point of franchise, I'm just going to play through one season. That's it. I have one shot to get through a season. And I am going to do a fantasy draft where the computer completely drafts my team. I have no say in the players I get. And my goal is to take that team and win the World Series, and I have one chance to do it. Trades are turned off. Free agency is on in case teams get injuries, but I'm not really anticipating that happening since it was a fantasy draft. Teams got to choose all their players anyway. So trades are going to be off. No teams can make trades. They get the roster they get, and the goal is to try to make the World Series. And since it was a fantasy draft, every team had a chance to get the players that they wanted. And so I got a random team. I got random players, and we're going to see if we can go and win the World Series. And I will be playing all 163 games. At least I will try to. Last time I tried to do all 163, it didn't go so well. Hey, guys, come over here for one second before we move on with the video. This is future Andrew taking over for past Andrew for a second here. So when I first made this video, or at least when I first recorded my intro, I legit had a plan to play all 162 games. Then I played the first 2 games and realized how long they took, and also realized how long it takes to edit a video. And so I thought to myself, if I try to do 162 games, I do not think I'm going to be finishing the series before the next version of MLB The Show comes out. And honestly, I kind of want to start a new series once the new game comes out, even if they don't make any updates to franchise, because honestly, I still like playing the game. Maybe we'll do more one-shot season series. But regardless, I'm changing the way I'm doing this. I played the first 2 games, realized how long they were taking, and decided to implement this. Every series, we will focus on one game where I will actually play out the game. The other games of the series, I will manage the game. So I can still control the aspects of the game, like pinch hitting, pinch running if I need to, bullpen changes, that kind of thing. So I still have control over the aspects of the game, but I'm not going to be playing out the full game. I will still highlight exciting things that happen in the game. But for this first video, instead of playing one game and managing 2 others, I'm playing 2 and just simulating the third, because the first 2 games, watching those highlights take a while, and I don't want this video to take up too much of your time, although I would appreciate the views. So that's how this series is going to go. I'm going to take one game from each series. I'm going to pick which game I want to play based on matchups. Maybe we'll have a really great pitching matchup. Well, it's going to be mostly based on pitching matchups, let's be real. But pick one of the games of the series to play, play that game, and then we're going to manage the other 2 games, and I'll still show the highlights of that game instead of just the simple old box scores. But this first video, enjoy the highlights of the first 2 games of the season, followed by the simulated box score of game 3, and then we will move on to the play 1, coach 2 or 3, or play 1, coach 1, depending on if it's a 2, 3, or 4 game series. So let's enjoy the one-shot fantasy franchise. All right, you can go. You can go back to the regular video now. You don't have to stay on me. Peace. Series I will cover. I will be recording my gameplay. You'll see me commentating on the gameplay. It's not going to be like my series highlights that I did for my 163 franchise with the St. Louis Cardinals last year. That took a lot of time to edit and produce, so I'm just going to try to keep it simple, record my gameplay, record my reactions, and clip them up for you to see in short format. So hopefully each episode is going to be one series, just quick highlights through each of the games and show you the box scores and how my team did, and keep track as how we go throughout the season. So this first episode, we're going to be introducing the team and then playing through the first series of the 2021, technically since it's still the previous version, the 2021 MLB season. And without further ado, let's meet the team. All right, guys, so I'm really excited about this. I was given by random, and I promise I did everything by random, the Seattle Mariners. And honestly, I really like the Mariners. They're probably my favorite team out of the AL West. When you look, maybe with the Athletics, maybe a close second. They're a team that I always hope will do well. I was really rooting for them at the end of the season this year when they were making that push for the wild card spot. Unfortunately, they fell a little bit short. But they're one of those teams that they're one of those underdog teams where they're never rated as like one of the best teams in the league, but they do their best to try to stay around and make the playoffs. And hopefully that future is going to be bright there in Seattle. But this team doesn't really have any of those Seattle players. This is a fantasy draft. This is completely mixed up and random. And looking at my stats, as you see right above my head here, this is going to be a little bit of an uphill battle because I am the 23rd ranked team in terms of overall rating. And this is not going to be easy since I'm 23rd out of 30 teams. But I think we have some pieces that'll really make this team work well. And we are not a slouch when it comes to power, as you can see as our 4th overall rating. We also have quite a bit of speed with our 7th overall rating. Our contact and defense have a little bit to be desired. Our pitching is about average. So without further ado, let's get into the team and meet the players. All right, first up in the starting rotation, you all know that I am a Cardinals fan. And in the starting rotation, we have the ace of our staff, Jack Flaherty, 88 overall. After him, the ace of the Atlanta Braves pitching staff, Mike Soroka. And then third, I would say Chicago has a couple of aces, but one of the aces of Chicago staff, Lucas Giolito. Fun fact, when I first saw that the fantasy draft gave me this roster, I remembered that Flaherty and Giolito actually attended the same high school. And for a second, I thought that we got all 3 of the high school teammates on the roster because I knew there was a Braves pitcher that was a part of Flaherty and Giolito's high school as well. I thought it was Soroka, but then I realized, no, it's not Soroka. It's Max Fried that was a part of that trio. So it would have been so amazing if I got all 3 of those pitchers onto this roster, but I'm not complaining about getting Soroka, not going to lie. So we got Flaherty, Soroka, Giolito, pretty solid top 3 in the rotation. Then we kind of take a hit in overalls. We drop from an 83 to a 71 with Corbin Martin in the rotation. Excuse me. And then Jake Latz, we will round out the rotation at the bottom. In the bullpen, we'll start with Ryan Buchter, a lefty out of the bullpen, Scott Oberg, Ryan Brazier, Justice Sheffield, Miguel Castro, Drew Steckenrider, Spencer Patton, and Ryan Tepera, who is going to be our closer. So a solid closer, average bullpen, really good top of the rotation, but not so good in spots 4 and 5. Maybe we'll have some minor leaguers that prospects that can make a push for this rotation, but the top 3 are definitely solid. But you can see why we have an average pitcher rotation because we're definitely got some top heavy guys, but then we kind of fall off a cliff in terms of ability after that. So hopefully Martin and Watts can just maintain and just do enough to get by essentially. And then our bullpen, It can be good, it can be bad. We're probably going to lean on Steckenrider and Tapera a lot, but we'll see what happens. And next up, we'll have the starting lineups. All right, so for the starting lineup, we have a prospect that has yet to reach the major leagues. And I should point out, actually, don't know why I didn't point this out earlier, I am using the final version of Scout Scoop's Riding Rosters full minors roster, where they put in the full minor league systems, well, as much as they can with the game restrictions anyway, into their rosters and put them into the game. So that's why you see Bobby Witt Jr. here. He is going to be actually our starting shortstop and leadoff hitter. With his 88 speed, not the best contact in the world, but he could improve as the season goes on. 19 years old, hasn't actually played in the majors yet, but we're going to have him as our starting shortstop. Following him, second baseman for the Dodgers, Gavin Lux. In the third position, we have center fielder George Springer with a lot of good power and decent defense. Not elite, but definitely above average. Then the right fielder, Avisail Garcia, with another power threat. First base, we've got Josh Bell. Again, power threat, not the best contact. Then at third base, we've got Mike Moustakas. Actually, scratch that. Second base is Mike Backtrack. DH is Mike Moustakas. Then we have Brian Anderson over at third. Braves hero in the playoffs, Eddie Rosario in left, and then catching Yan Gomes. On the bench, we have backup catcher Austin Romine, Dylan Moore, who will actually be playing third base in our batting against left-handed lineup, as well as Tyrone Taylor will be playing in left field instead of Eddie Rosario against lefties. So we'll get the lefty-righty platoon going there. Justin Upton will be the designated hitter against lefties. So we've got some good bats on the bench that can step in and get some lefties. So all of the players except for Romine are in a starting lineup somewhere. As we'll flop over to the left-handed, you can see Anderson, Rosario, and Lux will be on the bench. And we'll put in Dylan Moore ends up at second base. Moustakas ends up at third. I put Moustakas at third because he's got a better arm. And Dylan Moore has the better fielding overall. And then Justin Upton, like I said, will be the designated hitter against lefties. And then Tyrone Taylor is in left field. So that is the full team with the Seattle Mariners. And I'm excited. I've got a lot of potential. This team can hit really well they can hit home runs if they can make contact. Let's see if I can make contact. Got some young talent with Bobby Witt. Got some veteran talent in Justin Upton's, George Springer, and Avisail Garcia. Although, yeah, Garcia's 29. We got some playoff heroes in Eddie Rosario and Gavin Lux. And we've got some great pitching in Soroka, Giolito, and Flaherty. So I'm excited to see what this Mariners team can do. And remember, there's no trades going on. So this is the roster I'm stuck with. If I have some injuries, let's take a look at some of the guys from the minor leagues that might get called up if we have some injuries. Starting pitchers, I mentioned we have some young guys. We've got Justin Dunn, Brent Honeywell Jr. that could make an impact on the roster. Mauricio Rivera also, and Tony Santillan. Any of those guys could step up if one of the guys ahead of them gets injured. Not the best rating in the world, but again, this is we'll see what we can do with the 4 and 5 spot. We'll flip over the catchers. We got Alejandro Kirk waiting in the minors to step up if Gomes or Romine goes down. First base, we really only have Chris Gittens. Second base, we got Jahmai Jones that could come up. He can also play some outfield as well, so he could step up for injury. Got a lot of third basemen. Yandy Diaz and Hunter Dozier are both waiting in the minors. We've also got shortstop. Orlando Calixte would be the only option, although I'd probably call up one of these other guys that could play shortstop before him. Left field, we've got most of them in the majors already, so probably not going to see Smith Njigba. I don't know how to pronounce that. George Springer. And then we got Billy Hamilton and Roman Quinn that could step up, both of them with a lot of speed. And then in right, Lewis Brinson could be called up. Greg Diekman could be called up. So we've got some decent options in case one of our players goes down with an injury, but no trades. Free agency is open, but I'm probably going to try to avoid using it as much as possible. So how we're going to do the rest of this series is every series, if I have not played the team before, I will introduce their roster so you can see where some of your favorite players ended up if they play on any of the teams that I'm going to play against. And we will preview their team, look at their roster, and then we'll go ahead and play all 3 games. So let's move on to our first opponent, which is going to be the San Francisco Giants, led by their ace Noah Syndergaard. So let's take a look at their full roster. All right, so here with the Giants roster in the rotation, they've got Noah Syndergaard, followed by Wade Miley, Framber Valdez, Jeff Samardzija, and Luis Gil. Very solid rotation, led by, of course, Thor, Noah Syndergaard, and then decent options in the middle, and then a little bit better than my back-end option in Luis Gil. In the bullpen, they got Wandy Peralta, Colin Pache, Jurius Familia, Andres Munoz, Josh Taylor, Jordan Hicks, the fireballer from the Cardinals, who can't seem to stay healthy, Reyes Maranta, and then their closer, 90 overall, Matt Barnes. Let's take a look at their lineup. All right, so here is their lineup, led off by left fielder, rookie Akil Baddoo. Yanni Hernandez is going to be the second baseman. 99 overall, Max Muncy. And yes, the Scout Scoops guys did do some tweaking to the overalls. These are not based on the overalls that MLB The Show put out. Ryan Zimmerman at designated hitter. Ke'Bryan Hayes over at third. Yoel Pozo at catcher. Robbie Grossman in right. Andres Jimenez at short. And Jason Dominguez, the rookie sensation from the New York Yankees organization, is actually their starting center fielder at 67th overall. They also have Oscar Mercado, who's technically rated higher, but I guess they put him in. They're fairly similar. You got Alex Jackson as backup, Andrew Velasquez as second base, and then Gabriel Arias. I'm sorry, I'm butchering all these names. As a backup shortstop. So that is the roster of the Giants, our first series of the year. So without further ado, it's opening day time. All right, everyone. It is opening day between the Mariners and the Giants. Jack Flaherty versus Noah Syndergaard.
It's a cold night in Seattle, but at the very least, the roof will be shut to shield us from some of that. Opening night here, Yoni Hernandez.
Now, I may have auto fielding on, but I do choose where to throw the ball. So that is still up to me. I just don't have the throwing meter on, so I don't make a perfect throw every time. Like the chance for overthrows are still there.
1-0 home. Infield in the overshift here. Now the pitch. Pulled toward
and
right
that's
center
a deep
field.
fly ball to right center field. And with that, we've got a 1-2-3 inning for Flaherty in the first. That one looked a little scary off the bat, not gonna lie. All right, Mariners coming up for their first at-bats of the year. And here we go. It's been forever since I played this game. I'm probably going to be horrible on offense. As I watch a 100-mile-an-hour fastball go right down the middle.
Triple digits on the radar gun.
Sinker. There is just no way to do any damage. You're just looking at either a bruised shin or
late
a
on a
ground out to the
97-mile-an-hour
left side.
fastball,
So he comes
and
up
my
empty in
first
his
at-bat
first
is a
major league
strikeout.
at-bat.
Ouch.
I know he was expecting more, but that's a win. If you can put the ball in play your first big leaguer down, because if he's got that good pitch working, it's going to be a long game.
And then throws the slow 79-mile-an-hour curveball for strike.
1-2-3 go the Mariners. Still no score. Score here as we play inning number 2. Swing and a
fly
high
ball,
fly ball out to
deep
left field.
Pozo got to hang up that.
Track.
Oh my gosh!
And that one is
I don't even know what I was
gone.
saying there. Got a hold of that.
Yoel
Pozo with his first at-bat, first home run.
And it's fair to say
He battled. He fouled off like 3
forget.
straight pitches
Well,
before
there's
he got
no
that.
doubt about that, Matt. People ask him 50 years from now who he hit it off of and what stadium he was playing in.
I hung the fastball that much. I thought that was a pretty decent pitch.
He'll probably remember what kind of pitch it was, too. Hopefully he can get the ball back so that can go in his trophy case forever.
Yeah, it was up and in. He had to turn it around. Gee, man.
The 1-2. And here's a pitch.
And he's hit by the pitch with 2 strikes on him. I'll take that. First 2 runners reach against Syndergaard here in the second as Josh Bell takes a slide into the shoulder. Up and in. Turned into it.
He's really going to hear it.
At least it wasn't a 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
In this one, he is known for his sinker, keeping the ball on the ground.
And here's a slider, strike 3.
Backdoor slider froze me. That was a good pitch.
Slider for the punch out right.
this is swung
And
on
another
missed. 4
strikeout. See,
strikeouts
I get the
already,
first two
and that's
batters
on
on
number
and
2.
back-to-back
Really
strikeouts.
good late bite on that slider right
About to
there.
let this
The best ones
batting
have
a
that
great
late
chance go.
darts at the last minute.
Go away.
They're so tough to get the bat on.
Runners will be off of the pitch. Here's Eddie Rosario from Syndergaard. Here we go.
Here's the payoff pitch.
And he breaks his bat at the dribble up the third baseline.
Rosario
Rosario's hustling. Syndergaard over to first. He's safe. Everyone is going to be safe on the broken bat single by Rosario.
Right there.
And we have the bases loaded, my friends. Let's see if we can do something with it.
Jam off the end of the bat doesn't matter.
Here's the catcher, Yan Gomes. Hit the other
Yan
way
Gomes
out
with a
toward
fly
right
ball,
field.
deep right field.
Long run for the
Going
right
back,
fielder.
and he gets
He's
it
got
on the
it, and
warning
they get
track.
out of the jam
Gomes gave it a
unscathed.
ride, but just
The
falls
Mariners
short of
threaten,
the
but
wall.
leave 'em loaded. They
Seattle
trail
will
this
leave
one
the bases
1-0.
loaded and still trail the Giants by 1.
Against some trouble. Had the count 0-2, started nipping at the corners, and next
And
thing
Jason
you know,
Dominguez
this
in
count
his
stands
first
at
Major League
3-2.
at-bat goes
Swinging
down
and a miss here
swinging
as
on the
he's down
changeup
on
from
strikes.
Jack
So it's
Flaherty.
2 up, 2 down to begin
Nasty
the
little
third.
changeup on the full count pitch, nonetheless.
Oh, and look out as this runs in and gets
That
him.
Syndergaard
The second
slider's
man he's
a
plunked in this
little
one.
bit out of control today. That's
Oh,
the
that
second
was a
batter he's
big
hit
mistake
with.
right there. This guy might be the
Back up the middle.
Ground ball up the
what a
middle,
stop
flip
on the
from
slide.
second to
One
short,
there,
over to first.
relay to first in
Sweet
time, and just
double
like that,
play
this side is
by the San
retired.
Francisco
One
defense,
pitch,
started
2
by the
outs. The
sliding
pitcher's
stop
best
by their
friend
second
to end the
baseman.
inning. More
It was
opening day
Hernandez
baseball coming up
over at
following
second with the
this.
flip to short, over to first. Gets them out of the inning.
To full count now. Swing and a miss
on the
that's out
slider.
number 3.
Back-to-back Ks to end the inning
Giants
for
down in order,
Flaherty.
but they hold a 1-0 lead.
Still only has allowed the one hit, which was a solo home run.
It's by Moustakas, and now the pitch. Rocket to third.
Oh!
Leaps and makes a terrific
What a catch
and
by
with
Keith
that, the
Bryant.
side
Hayes
is retired. Get
smoked
up there,
off
big
the
fella,
bat by
and take away a
Moustakas.
hit at third. Dan, Mark,
Leaping
and I are
and
back in Seattle
snaring the
in just
line
a moment.
drive. What a catch by the young third baseman. Whew, man, I thought I had a single, if not a double there. And
New
speaking
inning
of Keith
set
Bryant,
to get
the Hayes now,
underway,
he's up to
and
bat.
that'll give way to the third. Swing and a shot toward
Fly
right
ball to
center.
deep right center field by Jimenez, and that's
And
going to
that'll
get
get
up
down
against the
out there
wall.
near the
Springer
wall.
can't get to it.
And he
Jimenez
is
is going to lead off the sixth with a
leadoff
double.
Out. Swing and a liner.
And Yoni Hernandez steps up
he
and
will
drives in the
deliver
run
one
from
of the
third,
biggest
and that's going
at-bats
to
of
give
the
the
night.
Giants
It's
a
base
2-0
hit,
lead.
and the runner from third crosses
How did he
the
pull
plate.
that
It's a
fastball?
2-0 ball game, and this is pretty cool, guys.
Man.
Not only is that his first one away, and digging into bat next, the big bat of Josh Bell. Now he gets the
Down to
ground
first,
ball
and that's going to be
This might
another
be 2
double
to second
play.
for 1.
Gee
On the
whiz.
first, it's a double play as the woes continue the inning. Now at 2-2.
So you'd love for him to offer at that one, but the execution
I left that
was
fastball
flawless.
right
Nice
down the
curveball
middle.
that starts
Okay,
the
it's not
On
gone,
one
but it's going to be a
second, that
double
ball
off the
is
wall
into
for
the gap in
Zimmerman.
right center. Should be
I was
good
trying to
for
put
at
that
least 2
fastball up and
bases.
in, and I
And he'll pull into
completely
second
missed my
here with
spot.
nobody out.
That's
Wow, this is a perfect example. The 3-2 pitch. Stung
And
into
then-
the gap in right center for what should be extra bases.
Keith Brian Hayes puts a double in the gap. It's back-to-back doubles.
As he arrives at second without a
And
play,
that's going to be
as
it
also
for Jack
on the
Flaherty.
play, a run
94
comes
pitches.
across
He
to
gets
score.
to 6+.
Hey, Dero, that's a big
His
RBI
back-to-back
right there to
doubles to
stretch
lead off
this
the
lead
seventh,
to
but
3.
can't
Takes
get
a
any more
lot
than
of
that
pressure
one.
off your pitcher going into the
Fair 2-1. Into right
And
field.
Jason
That's a base
Dominguez
hit.
with an
And the
RBI
runner
single
scores
to
from
right.
third as they extend their
And they're
lead.
up 4-0 now.
RBI. Not a bad way to get your career started.
Yeah, no doubt, Matty. He took care of the 2 first with one
And an
swing.
error
So
by Bobby
congrats to
Witt
him on
Jr.
achieving something
on
that's
the ground
really
ball to
special
short that
he's
should have
worked
ended
so
the
very hard
inning.
for. He'll
Wild
never forget
throw.
this moment as long as he lives.
And the
that's what
bases will
speed
now
does for
be
you. He
loaded.
made the play, but
Nothing in 1 count. Here it comes. Bell brings it in.
All right, we get out of the
He'll
inning.
step on the bag himself, and the
Good
inning
Lord,
is
that was
over.
a rough one.
So
Flaherty
they do
got
strike
hit for 2
2,
doubles
but
to
it
lead
could
off
have
the
been
inning.
much worse as they strand the bases loaded.
And then Bullpen couldn't lock it
Last
down
half
and
of the
allowed
seventh
another
here,
run.
and digging in is the veteran DH, Mike the second out.
Rosario's up now. He
Up
had
next,
2 of the 3
Eddie
hits.
Rosario. 2 hits
All
and 2
3
trips
hits
for him thus far.
have been
And
made
Singer
by the
gets
bottom 2
low
players
there.
in my lineup.
Into the
Rosario
third,
has
in fact.
2, Gomes has 1.
2 out, nobody on. Oh,
Rosario with a deep drive, right field, and that ball
And
is
this ball
gone.
is gone. No
Eddie
chance to make a
Rosario
play
is
on that
3
one.
for 3 for the Mariners, including a solo shot to right.
A
That
solo
was
shot here
gone
to
off
straightaway
the
right
bat.
field. First home run
And
of the
Seattle
campaign for him as they get
is
on
no
the
longer
board.
going to be
It's
shut out in
4-1
this
now.
game. What a bomb by Rosario, the first home run of the Mariners in 2021 in this fantasy
What a
season.
great feeling right there as he circles the pillows, finally able.
Pitch, and the next thing you know, you have a leadoff single on an infield ground ball.
Fly ball,
swings,
deep
and
left
this
field
ball
by
sent out to
Zimmerman.
deep left field. Gone!
Gone. Ow. Hurt.
So a 2 and no errors on the Giant ledger to this point. There's a swing
Fly
and a
ball by
drive hit
Grossman
well out
to
to
right field, and that is
Garcia looks
another
up,
home
and
run
it's
for the
gone as
Giants.
They add still another.
Their 3rd home run of the game. And this is getting ugly here on opening day for the
A
Mariners.
solo shot here to start. Jimenez the next to bat.
Another
A swing
And
a
another
sent
drive
out
deep
toward
right
the gap.
field. Andres Jimenez goes
Gone.
back-to-back on back-to-back
Jacks
pitches.
on back-to-back pitches.
As the announcer says at the same time as me. Did I say that this was on legend difficulty with custom sliders? I ain't taking it easy on myself, but man, it's going to be hard to make the
Well,
World
sometimes
Series
runs
if I'm,
come in bunches, and that's
give up hits
definitely
like
the case
that.
in this inning. That's 3.
Bobby Jr.
Hey, man, interesting story.
Bobby
on
Witt Jr. with his
I didn't
first
see him
major
in the minor
league
leagues when
hit.
his dad was with the
A
Texas
rope line
Rangers.
drive single
I
up
was
the
a
middle
hard
to
thrower,
lead
man.
off the bottom of the
Bobby
8th.
Witt Jr.'s father, Bobby,
Although at this point it might
have
be
been
too
the
little
hardest
too late in
thrower
terms of
I ever saw in the
deficit
minor
that I have
leagues.
to make
And
up.
there's
But hey,
probably
got some
no
positives out
happier
of this.
person in the ballpark.
On the mound so far.
Runners on the move for second. And first pitch swinging as this is bounced
Hit
on
and
the
run
ground
was on,
toward
and they
short.
still turned to
Throw
double
Muncy
play.
to finish the double play. That
Gotta be
retires
kidding
the
me.
side. Mariners go down quietly there. It's still an
Bobby
8-1
Witt was moving
ball
on the
game.
pitch. He has 90 speed, and they still were able to turn a double play. I cannot believe that.
He'll be fine coming out of the bullpen in this one if he can keep the ball around the knees like that.
Oh, now here's
Gee
a drive out
whiz,
to the
Yanni
alley.
Hernandez? Are you kidding me?
Around second
going
now
for
and
3.
headed for third. The relay. But
Good
he
Lord,
is
he's
in
got a
there
triple.
with a triple. The speed they always talk about with this guy was on. Comes into this appearance in the midst of a 1-for-4 day. Bell scoops it up, throw to the plate.
Oh, come on,
and
put the
not in
tag
time as the
down.
run scores.
That was there with plenty of time.
Ready to take his hacks
You guys know
again.
how I
Ryan
said the
Zimmerman
gameplay of
blasted a
MLB The
two-run
Show is
homer in
great.
his
I think
last
that was an
at-bat.
example of
Well,
where
man,
it could
this
be
is one of the
improved.
problems. This guy's a good
Because there is
fastball,
no way the tag should have been
particularly
that late with how
low fastball
early
hitter.
that ball
It doesn't
got
matter
there.
how hard or how low you throw it.
Low homer last time up. Set and the pitch.
Rosario with a
Goes
deep
the
fly
other
ball to
way.
left
This
field.
is hit high and deep out to
Oh.
straightaway left. He's got
And
it,
with
and
that,
the Giants
the first
move
game
to
of the
1-0
season is
on the
over.
young
The
season
Giants
as this ball
finally
game is
get
over.
Rosario out
9-1
for the last
is
out
the
of
way
the
this one
game.
ends. The San Francisco
And
Giants
the Giants
get the
show
win on
that
the
they've
heels
got
of
some pop to
4
their
home
bat
runs.
as they take
Noah
this one
Syndergaard gets the
9-1.
win on the mound,
They
his
just
first of
blasted the
year,
bullpen
as he
after
turns in
Flaherty
8
came out of the
strong
game.
innings of work. So that's
Whew.
a wrap here
And we
tonight.
couldn't really get
From
anything
Mark
going
DeRosa,
offensively
Dan
other
Plesac,
than
and Heidi
Rosario.
Watney. This is Matt
Got a couple
Vasgersian. You've
scattered
been
hits,
watching
but
MLB The
Rosario
Show.
was the
For
main
more, find
offensive
us on
threat,
Twitter
and
at
no one else could really
MLB The
do
Show.
anything. So with that, that's the first game of the season in the books as San Francisco launches 4 home runs off of us, including 3 in 1 inning, as they take the first game of the season 9-1. This ain't going to be easy, folks. Let's see if I can make the playoffs, much less win the World Series. But Ryan Zimmerman is your player of the game. Noah Syndergaard with the win with 8 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. Flaherty pitched well, had 4 strikeouts, but gave up 4 earned run in 6+ innings pitched. But the real story was the fact that they scored 5 runs off the bullpen, including 4 runs in a 3 home run 8th inning. And the Mariners look to bounce back in game 2. So let's move on to that. All right, game 2. We've got Wade Miley going up against Mike Soroka.
Coming to you from Seattle tonight, where the roof
Let's
at
see
T-Mobile
if the
Park has
Mariners
been
can bounce
closed
back
for
after
comfort.
their
Tonight, game
day
2 of this
1
3-game
loss
interleague series between the San
the
Francisco
Giants.
Giants
Hit a little
and
bit
the
better
Seattle Mariners.
Like to hit the rewind button on. Put himself in a tough.
Another changeup, strike 3 swinging. Soroka with 2 Ks in the inning allows 1 hit. That's all.
So now Miley, he's a .333 hitter, 5 for 15.
Garcia with a shot to the right field corner. That's going to get all the way to the wall.
Springer blows through the stop sign, headed for home.
Oh, he gets cut down at the plate. Oh.
So much for our first run of the ball game. 1 left for Seattle.
Oh.
And this is still a
nice cut and throw by Muncy gets him at the plate. Ah, man. I didn't think Springer was going to go there. That's what happens when you have auto base running. You have the base running tendencies show up in the players. I guess Springer is a more aggressive base runner, but he was cut down trying to score. That's unfortunate.
Contact at all, and that's an easy out for the defense.
Now a swing and a miss. He struck
in on the hands. Hard to do much with that because a hitter really.
Now
Justin Upton with a launch to left field. That's deep and gone. Solo home run. He went up and out of the zone. And tomahawks it over the left field fence. We talked at the beginning of the video. Justin Upton is starting against lefties in the DH spot, and he shows why as he launches that pitch that was up and out of the zone over the left field wall for a solo shot, and Seattle takes the 1-0 lead here in the second. Where was this pitch?
He couldn't get around on a fastball.
It was so high.
Well,
oh
there's
man,
nothing
and
to
he
be
just
mad about
chops
anymore,
it out of here on the
guy
line
standing
drive.
on the mound wondering what just
go.
happened.
He takes strike 3 called on the fastball. Couldn't pull the trigger, and there are 2 away.
And for working down in the zone on 2-2 and bouncing one in there that basically stands no chance.
Oh!
And he dives to make a spectacular
What a
catch.
diving play by Avisail Garcia. I thought that was going to fall, and all of a sudden he lays out and makes the spectacular catch to end the threat. Well, that wasn't really.
Ready to go for the last half of the
inning. To end the third inning.
And standing in is the power hitting Taylor on at first with nobody out. Oh, and
ball 4. He walks in a run. And the
Yeah,
Mariners take a 2-0 lead with the bases loaded. Still nobody out here in the third.
Sometimes you have no.
Here's the first pitch. This is
Garcia with a deep fly ball to right field. That's going to be deep enough to score the runner from third. Runner from second will also tag, and that's another run for the Mariners. Garcia with the sacrifice fly. It's 3-0 Mariners.
Always productive.
Jan Gomes.
Gomes, deep fly ball to left field. That's going to be another sacrifice fly. You'll get runs any way you can, and the Mariners will go up 4-0. Back-to-back sac flies puts the Mariners up by 4. That's what's called manufacturing runs.
They really bunch him up on that.
Tied him up
swings
inside.
And misses for the first out.
Well,
and a swing and a miss by Zimmerman as he sat down on strikes here. There no runs, just 1 hit, and no errors on the Giant
out
ledger
the
to
side.
this point.
Let's go.
And
Soroka with 7
Ks.
Ks.
And that ends the inning. A swing, and this one is blasted
with a
to
bomb.
right field.
Deep right field and
gone.
Solo shot for the Moose. 433 feet, 111 miles an hour off the bat. That was a no-doubt moonshot by Mike Moustakas. Extends the lead to 5-0. Let's take a replay on that one because that was a bomb.
Certainly a tape measure shot there as we take a look at it with our show track technology.
Lefty on lefty crime there. Good
was the
night.
exit velocity, so it
Way
comes as no
back
surprise
there.
that it carried as far as it did.
Let's go.
Hit on the ground out to short.
That's going to get through.
And that's through into left, a base
He's
hit.
going home.
The
Throw from the left fielder.
And they're not going to get him as he's in there to score.
San Francisco's on the board with an RBI
yeah,
single.
They say better late than never, and that's pull it out when you need it, like he did right there. Usually,
diving stop by Witt. Flip the second, the first. Oh, that definitely saves a run, though. Bobby Witt with a diving stop up the middle gets the runner at second. Beautiful. Almost got the turn, but he was just too quick up the line. That was close at first. All right, saves a run, though. Keeps the ball in the infield. Got an out. Let's see if we can get out of this game with only one run allowed. Popped it up, left side. Moustakas is there, and we get out of the jam. Great defense behind Soroka. Helps him get out of the jam. And we're still up by 4.
Opposite field to left.
Sliding catch by Tyrone Taylor out in left field.
Jumps of pitches, you're more likely to get a good pitch to hit, or at least
a swing and a miss. That retires the side,
10,
and that will do it.
I believe it's 10 strikeouts for Soroka. That's going to be his last batter, as he's now up to close to 110 pitches. 1 run, 4 hits, and I think 1 walk. And one hit batter for his performance, and an outstanding performance by Soroka.
The worst thing in the world to work around him if you can.
Grounded back up the middle.
Another double play that I've grounded into. I've
5-1.
grounded into a bunch of those the first 2 games.
To expand their zone and protect. And when
Fly
they're in that
ball,
mode,
left field. Tyrone Taylor is underneath it. He will put it away, and the Mariners bounce back after their opening day loss to snag a 5-1 victory over the Giants on the strength of 2 solo home runs, one by Justin Upton and one by Mike Moustakas, and then a 3-run 3rd inning highlighted by a bases-loaded walk and back-to-back sacrifice flies. Mike Soroka is definitely going to be our player of the game here. He better be our player of the game. Oh yeah, we could have had even more here. We got cut down at the plate in the first inning. There's Justin Upton's solo shot. He took one up and out of the zone over the wall. We had the diving catch by Avisail Garcia. Amazing play. Then here's Moustakas' bomb. 440-something feet. 111 mile/hour is off the bat. And then Taylor putting it away in the 9th inning for the final out. 5 runs, 7 hits for the Mariners. 1 run, 4 hits for San Francisco. Mike Soroka, your player of the game. 4 hits, 10 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 earned run over 8 innings pitched. And then, like I said, Justin Upton had a home run. Moustakas had a home run, and we pushed across. We manufactured runs the old-fashioned way with the bases loaded, walking 2 sac flies in the 3rd. All right, coming up next, rubber match, Game 3 of the first series of the 2021 season here on the Fantasy One Shot Challenge. All right, guys, so here we are in Game 3 of the opening series of the season, and we fell short. Our offense did not figure out how to get things going, and we fell 3-0 to the Giants to start the season at 1-2. Looking at the box score of this game real quick, we had a good pitching performance out of Giolito. He went 6 innings, 2 runs. He struggled with the walk. He gave up 4 walks. Only had 2 strikeouts, but he only gave up 2 runs. The problem is our bats couldn't figure it out. We had 8 hits on the day, but we didn't have the timely hits to drive runners in. We had 3 doubles. Springer had 2, Gomes had 1, but like I said, we didn't have timely hits in this game apparently, as we get shut out 3-0. Framber Valdez had our number, almost got the shutout. He was 1 out away from the shutout, had 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, 8 hits. Barnes came in and got the save, the 1-out save. They got runs they had a home run from Akil Baddoo, which was a solo shot, and then solo RBIs from Hayes and Jimenez. So the Mariners start the season on the losing end with a 1-2 series. At least we didn't get swept. And so we will be moving on. In the next episode, we will be facing... Who are we facing? We are facing the Chicago White Sox. So stay tuned for the White Sox roster revealed and the series in Chicago. Is it in Chicago? Are we in Chicago? No, we're at home. We're at home. against Chicago. We'll have back-to-back home series to start the year. So we will be in Seattle facing the White Sox on the next episode. So until next time, stay blessed and take care. Depending on if it's a 2, can't do things with my hands. Followed by the simulated box score of the
Extra play that retires the side.
Pozo got to hang up that.
The track.
On the other way, there's a big difference between 0-2 and 1-1.
Come on, Blue.
But now this next pitch.
As they get the double play to get him out of the inning. None left for Seattle. They lead this one, though.